Okay, in this video we're going to be going through how to do hair bows. A common thing to do for hair bows is to use fabric, but you can also use some other types of ribbon, so we'll look at that as well. So with fabric, what you're going to do is you're going to want to cut it based on the size that you want. So if you want a 4-inch bow by 5 inches, you would need to do like 9 inches in the fabric and about 12 inches in the length. 11 to 12, I mean. So, first thing I'll do is cut the piece we want. So if we're going to do a 5-inch bow, if we're going to have 4 inches by 5 inches, then this part is going to need to be about 9 inches. So about right here. And I'll just cut this across. Go. Cut it at the bottom. Okay. There we go. All right, so now I want to do between 11 and 12 inches. Okay. Once I have the piece that I need, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it. I want to find the center first, just like this. I want to crease the center. Then I'm going to open it back up, and I'm going to put each side to that center. What you're going to need is you're going to need an iron, because you're going to need to press this so that it is going to fit where you want it to. So one thing you need to make sure is if you are working on your mat, don't iron on your mat. Okay, so you want to plug in your heat press. So I'm just going to use the little mini Cricut, and I'm going to push my mat out of the way, because I really don't want to ruin my mat, and heat will ruin your mat, so don't do that. Turn it on. There we go. So I will, as soon as it is hot, then I will start pressing this. I do want to press on both sides. You're just going to get a better press if you do that. So this is no sew options. So the way you make this is going to be so that you're not going to see these edges. So I don't want to worry if there is a little bit of fraying on the edges. That's normal. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's do the other side. Try to get some of these creases out. There we go. All right. Now I want to fold it in half. I'm just going to crease here and here, just so I can get it where I want it. Okay. Press here. This just helps your bow stay the way it is and look nice like you want it to. There we go. So even if you cut it a little bit odd, it's not going to matter because you're going to press it and have this nice clean line. So now you can see we have this nice clean line. You're not going to worry about those little creases that we put at the end because you're going to now fold it into the center like this. You want to overlap it just a little bit like that. Okay, and then we'll crease again, and you're going to end up with a piece like this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to gather it in the center like this. So now you can see what your hair bow is going to look like. You can do one where you kind of fold it intentionally. Okay, like this. So that you only have a couple of creases, just like that. Once you have it the way you want it to look, as far as how much gathering you have, see, like this, I like that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get a glue gun, okay, and start to gather it back up. You're just going to put a little bit of glue where you want your gathered sections to be. Okay, there's one. Don't worry too much because we're going to put something on top of this. And it's not, you're not going to see these parts. Okay, gather again, just like this. So you see how we have that gathered? And I'm going to put another little piece right there. And I'm going to gather it one more time. Just like that. All right. Now we have our gather in place. I'm going to put a little bit in between these two layers to keep them together. There. Okay. Once I have it the way I want it to look, see how, look how cute that is. I'm going to grab a clip. So I'm going to put a clip on this one. So you can see it has this nice flat surface on it. And so what you're going to do, you're going to take another piece of your material. You want to do about about 2 inches. Okay. And then we'll see how long we need it, but first let's get that crease out. Okay. We're going to fold this in half as well because this is how we keep it nice and neat. Just like that. So you see how I'm just kind of folding it over. Then I'll press it again so it'll stay in that nice little piece. Okay. I can even put a little bit of glue in there. Just like that. All right, now this piece is going to go across this and make it look like a nice little bow. So we're going to need some overlap. Okay, so we need to cut it about 4 inches. Okay. Let me fix this little back piece real quick. If it starts coming up, don't worry, just glue it down. You can also do this with a needle and thread if you'd rather. I'm just showing you the no-sew version. There we go. You can see what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to put some glue on this little barrette piece. Okay, I'm going to put it right in the middle. Push that down. I'm going to let it glue for a minute. There we go. All right, so our barrette is glued down. What we're going to do is take this piece. We're going to put a little tiny piece of, or a little bit of glue right there. And I'm actually going to put it underneath this clip. So you just want to kind of set it in there underneath the clip, just like that. Kind of press down, make sure it's in there good. All right. Now I'm going to pull it across. Make sure that everything stays in place where I want it to. Just like that. Tighten it a little bit. There we go. There's your hair bow. Now I want to take this piece. You can take these pieces off. You just pull it out right there, like that. Then make sure I have it in place like I want it to look. This is the part that you want to spend the most time on, because you want to make sure once you glue this down, everything's going to look the way you want it. So I'm going to put glue there on that other piece. And I'm going to hold that down. See how cute this looks? Okay. So see, once I have it glued down, then I can take my scissors, trim that piece off. Okay. And then these just slide right back in there. That one there, on that side, and this one on this side. Okay. Then once you get that back in place, then your clip will work. If you have any trouble with pieces that don't want to stay in place, remember, you just have your hot glue that you can use to just get in there and get it correct. Now we did a wider band with this one. We'll probably do a smaller band with the next one. But you can see the barrette on the back. So I want to take a look at doing hair bows with this type of ribbon. So this is cross grain ribbon. And you can see cross grain ribbon. It's thick, it almost feels like canvas, but it's satiny, and you can see it will kind of tend to shred on the edges. So when you're working with ribbon like this, what you need is to have a lighter, because what you have to do is you kind of have to burn the edge. So you can see when you burn the edge, it's not going to shred anymore. This is a really good thing to do if you're going to be working with these. You can see this comes in all different kinds of colors and patterns. It's really pretty ribbon, and you can do a lot with it. You can stack them on top of each other. So we're gonna go through how to make some hair bows with some of this ribbon. So with this kind of ribbon, it is better if you work in smaller pieces. Okay, so if you're looking at a hair bow, all right, this ribbon is going to start to get floppy the bigger it gets. So I kind of made a large one just so you can see. So even if we put this in somebody's hair, you know, it would have to be a pretty large person, because you can see these just get kind of floppy. So it's a little better to do them a little bit smaller. Doesn't mean you can't do them bigger, because you certainly can. So I'm going to cut this about 12 inches. Okay, I want to burn this edge. There we go. Okay. It's childproof, y'all. It's very hard to do. All right, and then I want to overlap it. Okay, so what I like to do is find the center, okay, and then just kind of fold it down so that when I pick it back up, I can see where I made that little crease. And I'm going to go just slightly over that. So I'll just drop a little glue right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to go right across that, just a little. See, so now I have that nice little loop there. Okay, and I'm going to put another little drop here. And then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to go right across that. So just like half an inch or so. And look how cute that is. We already have a nice little bow. Okay. If you want to put several bows together, then we can do that. Just do a few so you can kind of see. All right. So we did that one at 12. Let's do this one at maybe 14. Okay, let's get this edge. Right. All right, so let's find the center. Right there it is. Okay. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue right around where that center is. And I'm going to take this piece and go across. Okay. Then another little drop. And this piece and go across like that, just like that. Now you can stack these on top of each other, and you see how cute that is when they're stacked on top of each other like this. So what I can do is figure out exactly where I want it. Okay, put another little drop. And you do just want a little drop. Okay, that looks good right there. Now, when you're working with ribbons like this, or when you're working with thicker ribbons, the best thing to do is, one, you can sew it, and you would just kind of sew it like this. Okay. I'm also going to show you how to do it with glue. But if you were going to sew it, so I just take my needle, and what I'm going to do is go in and back and in. Okay. just like this. And then you pull them together like this. Okay, just like that. You want to tuck it in so that you get this nice little, whoops, hold on. There we go. It's better if you hold it in your hand, and then you can run your ribbon, your thread around it, just like that. So this is one way, okay? You just run it around until you have it the way you want it to look. So let's look at another way. Okay. Another way is you can do kind of a little pattern like this, so that you have one main place in the middle where it's folding, a little pleat like that. And then you can just take either some thread, or you can also use yarn. So anything that you have that's nice and thin, but also would hold it well. So I'm probably just going to take some of this little thread here. This just helps you hold it while you're getting your other pieces ready. I think I picked the wrong thread. Okay, here we go. There we go. All right. So you want to hold it, put your thread on, then wrap it around. You can also put glue on it right there where that little space is. Okay. Make sure we're staying in the center. That doesn't look like the center. So you want to pleat it. One good pleat. Just like that. Then what I'll do is I'll take my glue. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there. And then you want to hold it for a couple of minutes while it glues together. You could also take either some thread or some yarn and wrap that around as well. You could do the sewing like we did a minute ago. You could do a combination. So this is just to hold it in place while that's gluing. You see how cute that is? Okay. Now, so once that's glued, what I'll do is I'll start with my barrette. So remember, we're going to open the barrette, and then there's this little piece in here that's kind of almost spring-loaded. You just pull it out of both ends. Then you're going to put your glue here. Okay. I want to make sure I'm getting it in the middle. That looks good right there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover where our mechanics are. So I have this cute little ribbon right here that I think would be super cute. So I can just cut a piece of that. I'm going to take another piece of, or another little dab of hot glue. I'm going to put it right there on the barrette. I'm going to take my little piece, put it right there, and then cover that. And you see how that makes it look all nice and neat? And what a cute little hair bow. I like to make sure it's pretty tight and everything looks good. It's in the center. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll take and put just a little glue right there on the edge. Okay. Go across there. And I can trim this off. Okay. Just like that. If I need to put that edge down a little, I will. There we go. Okay, now I can put my piece right back in. So it just goes right under that little piece right there. It just slides under there, and then you just pull it back and slide it under there. And now you have a perfect little hair bow. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so let's look at another kind, or another way to do kind of this same thing. This one's going to be a little different because it's a much thicker ribbon. So this is what you often use for cheer bows. Huge thing for cheer bows. So cheer bows has a huge market. I'm going to do about 12 inches because once again, I don't want it to be too large. Okay. I'm going to fold it in half and I'm going to find the center. Just kind of press it down. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue. And when you're putting a little glue, try not to put like a clump, okay? Because that can make it difficult when you are gathering. Okay, like that. And just a little bit right there. Just like that. Okay, now we have just the basics. Now you can see how we kind of gather this. So you can pleat it by pushing it down, down, and down. Okay? Make sure you're in the center. Just kind of eyeball it. Then we're going to put a little glue right here, just like we did before. Okay? This one's much heavier. So usually if I'm going to do one of these, I tend to want to do something like yarn because I think it's a little bit sturdier than the thread. And the thinnest yarn you can find is really best. Let's see. All right, so we just take it. Just wrap it nice and tight. Make sure we're staying in the center. Yeah, that's good. Whoop, I think we're off a little bit. Hold on. Okay. There we go. Perfect. Don't worry if you get a little glue here because we're going to put something there and you're not going to be able to see it. Now, if you're going to be doing a barrette, then you would put the barrette in now. If you were going to do a rubber band, you would put the rubber band in now. So we're going to look at rubber bands a little bit more when we do some little doggy bows. All right, so pull our little clip out. Little glue. Okay. Place it down. Now I am going to put the string around it a couple of times just because I want to make sure it's going to stay in place. There we go. Okay. Then what we'll do So we're going to take a piece of this same one, just a little bit, a couple inches or so, and then we want to see about how big do we want it. Maybe about this big. About like that. You can fold it in half. It's kind of what I like to do. Let's run the blue. Okay. There we go. Perfect. All right, now we start it with a tiny little piece of glue right there in the middle. Okay. So right there, I like to hold it a minute just to make sure it's on there well. Then you can see it's going to cover anywhere where we had a little bit of hot glue. And it's also going to cover where we had that yarn. So you can see it looks great. You can put a little tiny piece right here just to keep it in place. There. And then I like to glue it a little bit past the barrette. That. Okay. So right there. Then I'm going to put my clip back in. But hopefully not upside down. There we go. So now you can see it will clip well. And there you go. There is a cheer bow. Now you can do just like we did before. You can stack these. You can put different colors. There's so many things you can do. I'm just going to trim this. And I'll make sure I glue that little end down. Okay. There we go. All right. There's our cheer bow. Okay, let's do a double bow. Now, I will say this. It is better if you use these types of ribbons for hair bows as opposed to the wired, because what you don't want is for it to come out and hurt someone. Okay, so be real careful. All right, there we go. So let's do maybe 12. Okay, and then another 12. Okay. Now, there. You see how that likes to fray a little bit? You see how that just comes right off? Okay. This is why we get this. You see? So very important step, otherwise this could happen. And it's really frustrating if it happens and it's already in the barrette. So definitely want to do that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of crisscross them like this here. Let's see if we can figure out if we're in the center here. You see how cute that looks? Okay, I think we are, but let's just check. Okay, so right there. right. And right there. So I kind of want to line those up together. And let's just put a little bit. Just like that. Let's see. I'll make sure I have enough. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay. I want it to be just a little bit like that. Let's see. So I want to check and make sure that I have it at the right angle before I glue it. There we go. Okay, that's the way we want it. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're going to do the same thing we did before. A little blue there. A little blue there. Okay, a little blue there. And I'm not putting a lot, because if you put too much, you're going to have a hard time gathering it in the center. This is just kind of tacking these together while you get it ready. All right, so now we have kind of a double bow. And what we're going to do is the same thing we did before. We're going to pleat it just like this. Okay, just like that. Then we're going to put a little glue in here. This is 2 together, so I probably will use a little bit of yarn. There we go. Perfect. Look how cute. So remember, you can do this with any size ribbon. This is the grass grain ribbon. Isn't that cute? You can even leave the yarn on there as the little accent. You can put little buttons, little beads on these. There's just a ton of stuff you can do. There's so many different ones you can make. Okay, let's do our little barrette. Okay, pull it out. Put a little glue here. Get our barrette in place. Okay. Go around a couple times. Okay. Now, this time we're going to cover it with a little bit of this fabric here. What I can do is cut a small piece, you know, 2 or 3 inches. And what I'll do is I'll find the center, just like this. There. Okay. And then I will run glue kind of down the center like this. All right. Then I'm just going to fold this one over. Just like that. If it gives you any trouble, what you can do is use your iron to kind of get those edges on there good. With this grass grain ribbon, sometimes you do have to do that to get it to sit right. Okay. other side on there. Let's iron that down a little. And then we can put some glue in there. Now you can also use fabric fuse in these. You can use glue dots in these. You can use the no-sew tape in these. So there is more ways to do it than just the hot glue. So if you don't really want to work with a lot of hot glue, then you can do those. There we go. Now it's working. So the iron is something you definitely need when you're working on these. Okay, now we can just run a little bit of glue down here. Okay. Whoops, looks like I pulled a little string with my glue. All right. It pulled a little string, so I want to redo this edge. Make sure if you ever pull a string, you redo that edge. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna put a little drop of glue there. Okay. Put that there. Okay, and then we're gonna come around. Put a little dab of glue there. How stinking cute is that? Okay, a little bit right there. Hold it down and make sure it glues on there well. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? Let's fix this little edge. There we go. And let's get that little edge down. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. So don't be afraid to not do other types of bows. These are so stinking cute. And there's a huge market for these little hair bows, okay? So we just put our little pieces right back in there. I got this bag of the barrettes from Sim's Pottery. But you can get them other places as well. You could also do the rubber bands here. But look how cute is that. So we've got our little cheer bow, we have a little double bow, we have this type of double bow, we have our fabric bow. So we're going to do one more of this, a double fabric bow, and then we're going to do a couple pet bows. That's going to be the majority of the things that you need to know about making hair bows, because it's just the same process over and over with different material. Okay, so let's get out our fabric. Now remember, you can use all this same stuff for little dogs. Huge, huge, huge market for little dogs. Bows. A lot of groomers don't have time to make their own bows. So if you know a groomer, so while we're cutting, we're going to go ahead and cut some for when we do the dog bows. I got this adorable little fabric here. Now when you're doing dog bows, you want to do them much smaller, okay, unless it's a really big dog. Okay, so I'm cutting, let's see how wide I cut this. About 5 inches. Okay. So with dog bows, you want to do them pretty small, depending on the size of the dog. Okay. So if we fold this in half here, okay, this is going to be about, what, 2.5, 2 inches? About 2 inches. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is iron it out. Remember, you always want to iron when you're dealing with fabric. Okay. There we go. And then I want to find my center piece. There. And there. Okay. Now I just want to overlap here. Okay. There. And here. Right about there. Okay. There we go. So now we have a nice crease so that when we're ready to start, we will be ready to start. Okay, so we got this one ready. Now let's work on the next one. Okay, so let's do maybe these 2 greens together. All right. Let's cut an 8 by 11 piece. So let's see, let's mark the 8 first. Right there. Okay. There we go. And 11. There we go. Okay. All right, let's start to iron this one. Your bows are not going to look nice if you don't take this step of ironing it out. Getting those wrinkles out so that you can get the new creases in. There we go. Okay, now let's find the center. Okay. Mark it here and here. Okay. All right, now I'm going to overlap just a little bit right there. Okay. Whoop. Get that crease in there. Let's get this crease in there. Okay. Alright, so this piece is ready. So you can see when we take this and we fold it in half here, just put one little dot there. This is going to go here. And this one is going to go here. Okay. So let's put a tiny little bit of glue here just to hold it in place. Oops. Okay. Just like that. There we go. Okay. All right. There we go. So this piece here is about a 5-inch bow. Okay, so you see when we pull it in on the center, that's how it's gonna look. Isn't that adorable? Okay, so we can either do smaller or larger. Let's see, let's do smaller. So we did 11 by 8. So let's do 6. Okay. And let's do 10. Oh, was that in my 6? Shoot, hold on y'all, I gotta redo that. Don't cut it with the single ounce. Okay, let's do 6 inches. Now, when you're cutting with a rotary, you're going to need to press harder. So make sure you're pressing harder or it's not going to go all the way through. Okay, let's do 10 and a half. Okay, there we go. All right, now we need to get our creases out. Go. Glue on the table? Must be. Okay. There we go. Some of these lines will be hidden as we get it together. Okay, so just the edge of it right there. Okay, then this edge here. Okay, this just helps keep it in place so you don't have to worry about it coming off. Sometimes it's easier for me to lift the other one up so I can see where the midpoint is to get this one done. And then I will go back over all once here. There we go. All right, now that's my midpoint. Okay, so I'm gonna put just a tiny bit right there. Get that one across like that. Tiny little bit right there. That one across. All right, now we layer them on top of each other, just like this. Okay. I'm just going to put a little tiny dab right there, just to keep them in place. I can see my little points where I made the center. All right, now I want to get some yarn ready. This is going to make it easier for me. Now I'm going to gather again. I'm going to start my gather right up here by the second one. So gather, 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 just like that. Okay. I'm gonna put just a tiny little bit of glue here. This mostly helps my my yarn stay in place. Okay. as I start it, I want to make sure I'm staying in the center. Okay. And I'm pulling it nice and tight. There we go. Cute. Okay. Doesn't really matter what you use to put here in the center. It is going to be covered. Just whatever is going to help you keep it together until you get the final pieces glued on. Okay? There we go. See how cute that is? All right. Let's get our barrette out. Pull our little piece out. Get some glue down. Okay. Put our barrette in. And then I'm probably going to cover it with the smaller green. I mean the lighter green. Yeah, I'm going to do the lighter green. Okay. We don't need a huge piece. Okay. Okay. Again. Honestly, this is the most time-consuming part of making bows, is just getting the material where it needs to be. That's it. Okay. Okay. There we go. All right, now, time to load this on. So a little piece of glue right here under our barrette. Okay. Gonna put that there. Then we're gonna go all the way around. If you want to gather it in, you can, like this, kind of bunch it in, like that. There. Okay, I want to hold it there for a minute while it's doing. There we go. Oh, how cute is that? Look how cute that is. Okay. Now I'm going to glue down this final little piece. There we go. There. Okay. And we're going to put these in. Whoop. So right, see, it's got like a little place, you just put it right underneath. Then you kind of bend it and it goes underneath this piece as well. Okay. And then you should be able to clip it. Just straighten out your bow. There we go. So this one is a double one. Here. Okay, so you can see the two. This is a single one. Okay, now let's do a dog bow. Pull some of this off. All right. All right, so with the dog bows, we want to do them a little smaller. Okay, so we really don't need all of this, but we're going to use part of it to do the dog bow. We're actually going to do, let's see, let's make maybe a 3-inch. Okay, so about right here. It'll make slightly less than 3. Okay. Let's see. So find our center spot right there. Okay. Just like that. A little bit right there. So you can see I'm not putting very much. Right there. You can see that. Okay, so now we're ready to put our little tie on and our rubber band on. Okay. So just like we did before, we're going to do our little pleat. Okay, get our little pleat just like that. Put our little drop of glue. Okay. Uh-oh, whatever's beyond. Oh, y'all, seriously, it was right in front of me. All right. Put the little yarn. Now remember, at any time you can sew this part if you would rather. You would just sew it like right in the center. Get my centers off a little. There we go. There. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to put my little rubber band on right there. I want it to stay in the back. There. Okay. So I'm just going right around the rubber band. Okay. Now, I'll put a little bit of glue right there. We're gonna cut, that's even too big, I think. Okay, we're gonna cut a little piece of this. Okay. Get the little center. Okay. And do our fold in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. And this fold in. So all we're doing is making sure that there's no little pieces that are going to jump out in the bow that don't look nice. Okay. You can go ahead and burn the edge right there. Okay. Okay. All right, now, I think I put that glue on too fast. All right, now I want to put a little piece of glue there. Okay. Across there, and it's going to come right under here, right under your rubber band. Okay. All right. Put a little dot there. Okay. A little bit there. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? Now you can make these smaller or bigger. Just this little end here. And I just tuck the edge under so that it's nice and smooth. So you can see the only real difference is the rubber band here. But how cute is that? So you can make little bow ties like this for the little dogs, little hair bows. You do want to get the really tiny rubber bands for those. But isn't that adorable? All right, so if you have any questions, just let me know, and I will see you in the next video.